All right, so today I want to talk about the perfect setup for a large cap day trading scenario. Um, so today the SPY was dropping, and some of the things that you look for um, as pre-criteria to your perfect setup would be things such as alignment with the market, high volume in the pre-market, a news catalyst of some sort, and a good pre-market pattern. So that's exactly what was happening today with LVS. So I'm looking at the pre-market, and this is the 5-minute chart for LVS. So a couple things I want to show you here. So these dashed red lines are my pivots. eSignal, which is my charting platform, actually crashed this morning, so I posted levels from thinkorswim which were not as accurate when I went back in and redid them on eSignal. So that was something that I did notice about the difference between thinkorswim and eSignal, is that the data that you're getting on TOS is just not as accurate. So I replotted my pivots, and each of these dashed red lines are going to be my new pivots from my eSignal charting. So I plot these pivots on the daily chart, and if you want to check out how to create those pivots, I'm going to create a new video on that, but you can also check out how to trade the QQQ. So first of all, I want to talk about the pre-market patterns. So what we're seeing in the pre-market is we're seeing lower lows and lower highs right off the bat, as well as this gap down here. So those are two signs that are making me think, okay, we might want to go short. So our ideal scenario would be to take this short if everything is in alignment, which are the criteria that I just mentioned. So I did actually have a couple different trading plan scenarios, and that would be these little guys over here. So this green bar would be my short scenario, which, by the way, I didn't really love these scenarios that much because these windows from this red dashed line until this red dashed line are actually pretty short. They're not that much bigger than the ATR for what LVS is, and because of that, I wasn't in love with those setups. So this would have been my short scenario, is if we are forming a retest below this line here, we could go short here with the target down here and the stop up here. If we were retesting from above, then we would go long with an entry here, target up here, and the stop would be down here. Now, my favorite scenario actually was going to be using this pivot level down here, because when I show you the pivot level below it, we actually have a really nice window, and the distance from here to here is actually really nice. And on eSignal, there's a tool where you can quickly measure the distance, and that's going to show me that's a 6.28% or $2.44. which that is much bigger than the ATR for LVS. So I liked this window, and I thought if the market is in alignment, then I would want to go short under this level here. And that would be a really, really perfect setup. So that's exactly what happened today. So if we just scroll forward a little bit, and by the way, like, I didn't want to trade in between these two levels because this window is too small here. And I thought, maybe we could just wait and see if we're going to hit this level here. So this is the pre-market still. And actually the pattern that's forming is really nice. It's looking really nice for a short, so you're getting a new lower low here. And so far there have not really been any, here's like a new higher low here. So the market opens and we retest this but stay under it. Now this stock is looking really weak because of because of the following. So this blue dashed line which by the way, I went over what my indicators are in a previous video, which you can check out. So this blue dashed line is the 20 EMA from the daily chart. So we're under that. So we've gapped below it and we're looking weak. The S&P 500 is looking weak at this point. We're below the VWAP. We're below the previous day's low. So everything's looking pretty good. These are all signs that are going to confirm that now is a good time to take a short, or these are all good reasons to take a short. And the more reasons you have, the stronger your case is to go short there. So my goal was to go short at 38.77. The target would be 36.46 because that was my next lower pivot. And then the stop would have been 39.31. And this gives you a 2-to-1 profit loss ratio. And usually that's a good place to start if you're trying to figure out your stops. Otherwise, you could always create other arbitrary stops based off of price action. So basically what we're going to look for is we want to look for a 5-minute close below 38.78. So we're still waiting. No, still waiting. We're getting close here. And of course, my E signal freezes. Here we go. So at 7 a.m. California time, we see that there's a 5-minute close below my pivot. So what I want to see, and this is the most beautiful setup, is when you see a wedge or a flag or whatever you want to call it, a triangle, happen below your pivot, test your pivot, and then it's going to continue lower. So those are awesome setups, and they don't happen often. But today it happened almost exactly perfectly. So at this time here, you're going to want to zoom into a smaller time frame to get a precise entry. So we're going to use the 24-second chart because 10 seconds is a little bit too fast and 30 seconds is just a little bit too slow. All right, so we're looking at the 24-second chart now, and basically what I'm looking for is at 7 a.m. California time, that was when the 5-minute close happened, which is right about here. So what I'm looking for after this point is a retest of my pivot level and then a continuation lower. So retests can happen more than once. A good, sort of arbitrary rule of thumb is if it retests 3 times and can't get above, then that's definitely going to continue lower. But then again, you can't always say definitely about anything. So you really just have to watch the price action. So it looks like there was one retest here, and this would be a good place to open a position. And then we're going to want to continue on that position. So on the next retest, you can always add a little bit more to your position if you created a starter position here. So you're going to want to watch for continuation lower and just kind of try to hold as long as you want. A good first place to maybe start to take profits would be after 1%. And so you could measure that by using this tool in eSignal. So 1% would be probably 46, maybe around 40 cents or so. You could take some profit there. You could probably take some profit over at 2%, which would be just a little bit less than 85 cents, and so on. Because usually algorithms will push the price from one pivot all the way through the window, but it's not always guaranteed. And in this scenario, you have to keep in mind that the price had already gapped down, so we've already pushed pretty far. And if you check how far that distance was from yesterday's close, that's already, actually, you know what, let me get rid of that one. So if I back up the chart here, I can actually measure the distance from yesterday's close to where we are at the pivot. So let's measure the distance from up here to right there. And that's already a 10% drop. So keeping that in mind, this stock has already really moved pretty far. And so you do want to take some profits on the way down to this pivot. So let's see how we did. And you can also do it like a trailing stop. So as the price goes down, you can just keep pushing this price down as well. So you could follow it like that, or whatever your preference is on setting stops. But you definitely want to take some profit on the way down, while also still trying to maintain a position for as long as you can until we get to this pivot right here. So let's see how we did. So we didn't quite make it all the way, but we did hit 36.91, which was about 50 cents away from our price target. So that's actually pretty good. It's more than halfway. Now let's go back to so once we're on trend, and this actually made a really, really nice move. Once you're on trend, if you want to find another way to stop out or to exit your position, and just in case the trade goes against you, what you could do is you could create like a shorter time trend line. So under this line here, you would take this high, connect it to the next high, and when it breaks this line here, this white line, that could be a good indicator of exiting your position, because this could actually potentially head back up to this pivot here, which it actually ended up doing. So yeah, this trade was perfect for an opening trade. It actually took, let's see, about an hour and like 10 minutes or so. Well, actually, I can't really do math right now, but however long that is, from 6:30 a.m. until 8:10. So yeah, a little bit under 2 hours to get there. So you would have really had to practice patience on this trade, but so long as this line right here didn't break, you could have just kept on staying in the trade. So yeah, that kind of is a really good example of a perfect scenario with all of the criteria being met to take the perfect trade. By the way, I wanted to mention that market alignment means that you're making sure that you're checking the stock that you're trading, especially if it's a large cap, against the S&P 500, in which case I use the SPY. So let's just take a quick glance at where the SPY was at 7 a.m. So yeah, it was below the 20, it was below the VWAP, it was below today's open, and it looked like it was heading lower. So it was looking really weak, which was another good sign as to why we could take a really nice short trade today. I hope you guys like this video. I'll be posting more. Maybe I'll do another detailed one about pivots, and make sure to follow me on StockTwits if you want to see my pivot watch list. It's Hey Little Trader with 2 R's at the end. And hit a like and subscribe if you guys like this video.